Indian Medical Association of New England, IMANE, held its annual gala event on November 18, 2017. Under the presidency of Dr Sameer Kapasi, the organization excelled and grew throughout the year and had over 250 attendees for this successful event. The evening began with a members' meeting followed by a networking reception. Dr Sameer Kapasi, in his speech, shared the details of the community events held throughout the year. He welcomed the incoming president, Dr Vikas Mirchia, who shared his enthusiastic vision about 2018. The chief guest of the evening was Dr Vivek Murthy, the 19th Surgeon General of United States. A well-moderated session was held where Dr Murthy shared his journey and his insights about the overall medical landscape in this country. This interactive session was the high point of the evening, followed by yet another community appreciation section where selected community members were awarded for their dedicated service. The wonderful evening ended with an entertainment program. Here are a few glimpses of the event as captured by the Foundation's TV team.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here with Mr. Kapasi, who has been a past president of IMANE, and we are here at a really nice end of the year 2017 gala. So welcome to that, and do share with us your vision about the organization.
Thank you so much. IMANE is very precious to me. I came into the foray in 1979. It's a long time back. Eventually, I became the president of the Indian Medical Association in 2004. My biggest ambition was to bring youngsters into the foray. During my year of presidency, I got Apurav Gupta to run for presidency, which he did. But then there was a fallout. Last year, it was amazing. We got youngsters in. The IMANE is run by youngsters. They do the planning, they do the financing, and for the first year in so many years, IMANE is actually funds positive. It has got more money than any other year. Every year, IMANE has problems filling up the annual gala. This year, we have been refusing people. We have 240 as opposed to 150 last year. And hopefully next year, we'll even get more. Great.
That's fantastic. That is really good. You know, where other organizations are probably not being able to achieve this, where there's the wisdom of the older generation, but the enthusiasm of the younger ones. I think IMANE has been doing that really well. So congratulations to the Kapasi family as well, because you have, 4 presidents in the family, past presidents now.
Thank you. For us, we are not looking for posts, but we are looking for IMANE to thrive. We don't have anything to do with the chair, but the sense of duty, which is very important to me. And Sameer, fortunate for us, but not surprising, has proven to be from the same tree.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here at the IMANE event, sitting down next to Sameer Kapasi, who is actually the president this year, and he is the 4th president from the Kapasi family. So welcome to Foundations TV, Sameer.
Thank you.
So you've been the president of IMANE for 2017. So when you started, what was your vision and how far along did you go with that? We're almost at the end of the year now.
So when I first started this year, I thought, what had I gotten myself into? I thought, we've had so many great leaders before me. Can I lead as they did? Can I do as much as they did? Can I have quality events that really engage our evolving membership? So my vision throughout the year is, how do I serve our community, and how do I engage a membership that is including second-generation physicians in addition to those first-generation physicians who started this organization?
And how do you think that you did based on the goals that you had?
So what I did throughout the year was that I would gauge people in my age group, the second-generation physicians, the first-generation physicians, on what IMANE could do for them, what they could do with IMANE. And the common conclusion was that what they want from an organization is service. They want to be able to do service. And so what I wanted to do was package that for our members. And so by having multiple health fairs, we had a co-sponsored health fair with United India Association. We had a health fair at the IAGB event in August, the India Day event. We had a health fair at the India New England event, and then we also had our own health fair at the Guru Nanak Gurudwara in Everett. So we had multiple events in addition to Cradles to Crayons events, which were had nothing to do with healthcare, but where we provided clothing to more than 80 families. Ultimately, what I wanted to do was engage a larger group, and I think that we were successfully able to do that.
That sounds really nice. Like you described, all the 4 events seem to have engaged people from various generations, the older generation as well as the newer generation. That is fantastic. And about today's event, you have a special guest who is joining you. Would you like to talk about him?
So our special guest is our 19th Surgeon General. He's one of our own, former physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital, Vivek Murthy. He became the 19th Surgeon General under the previous Obama administration and has recently stepped down to start other projects. In fact, he's at Kennedy School working on projects all of this week. So we're very excited to have him at this event. And this event, might I add, this event is our biggest thus far. We have over 250 registrants. It's pretty huge.
That's amazing. Now, going forward, what are your hopes from the organization as a whole?
Well, my big hope is that we continue to function as a body that really works with the community, works in the community to educate the community, works to deliver healthcare to the community, and works with all of our physicians as well as non-physicians to promote healthcare in and around our community.
That's fantastic, Sameer. I do want to add in here that it's a very rare situation that we don't see in many organizations, that the parents have led the organization and the kids follow the footsteps. Most of the times in our community, we see people going all different directions. So it is really commendable to see the Kapasi family put in so much towards this organization and showing their commitment towards the community. So congratulations for that, and congratulations for a successful year at IMANE as president.
Thank you so much. I'm just a cog in the grand machine. My parents have been cogs in this grand machine. All of us come together, and the sum total of all of us is greater than each individual small part. Thank you.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here today at the IMANE Gala of 2017, and this wonderful event is being graced by the 19th Surgeon General of United States, Dr. Vivek Murthy. Dr. Murthy has led a lot of non-profit organizations as well as some technology companies. He became the Surgeon General in 2014, and we have a quick moment to talk to him tonight and to hear his thoughts about what he feels, what organizations such as IMANE can do to make a difference. Welcome to Foundations TV, and welcome to IMANE.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you.
It's great to have you. You, of course, need no introduction, but you have so much, that you have accomplished all along. You have worked with non-profit organizations, you've worked with for-profit organizations, and eventually you ended up being the Surgeon General in the White House. So tell us a little bit about how your journey has been as a physician yourself.
Well, first of all, let me just say that my journey has been a very unplanned one. I didn't plan to all the steps that took place, over the last 20 years of my professional life. And I also never planned on being Surgeon General. It was not a dream or aspiration of mine, although I certainly respected and honored the people who had held those positions before. But my life has really been a series of really fortunate accidents, if you will. But the people that I'm most grateful for who made that journey possible are really my parents and my sister and my wife Alice. From a really young age, it was my parents who set an example for me of service and engagement with the community. And when I became a father, somebody once gave me the advice. They said, your child won't listen to what you say, but they'll listen to what you do, meaning that they will follow the behavior that you model for them. And in that sense, I was very lucky because my parents modeled an ethic that was grounded in community service and engagement. And that's what led me and my sister to get involved in public health, doing HIV education when we were freshmen in college. And that began my journey in public health, which ultimately led me to this opportunity of serving as Surgeon General.
So this is really amazing that, as you said, that it's been a series of fortunate incidents. So when you were called to become the Surgeon General, was it a surprise? And describe how you felt at that moment.
Well, when I was called by the White House and they asked if I would be interested in being considered for the post of Surgeon General, I was surprised. You know, I had worked with the Obama administration on efforts related to healthcare reform. Specifically, I had worked with many other doctors around the country to ensure that the voices of physicians and their ideas and input were part of the health reform process. And so while I had worked with the administration a bit, I had never expected to be asked to serve in that capacity. So I was surprised and deeply honored.
Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask you about IMANE. What is your association with IMANE?
Well, some of the leaders of IMANE, particularly Dr Kapasi, have been a long time friends and mentors of mine, and starting from when I was a college student working on HIV in India. So it's a real honor to be back here for the organization's annual event. And my hope for organizations like IMANE and other Indian medical associations around the country is that they will work to engage Indian physicians more in advocacy and in helping to shape the kind of healthcare system in which all of us practice. I think that if we have stronger voices as clinicians, then we can ensure that our patients are getting and receiving care in a system that works for them and that works for clinicians. So I would love to see our organizations really support clinicians in using their voices to call for greater change.
That's fantastic. We welcome you to the event and hope you have a great time tonight. Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here at the IMANE Annual Gala for 2017. This has been a phenomenal year, and let's find out from one of the past presidents, Dr Kapasi, why this has been a phenomenal year for IMANE. So share the accomplishments with us.
It sure is a, big accomplishments because it started very slow. And we didn't think that we will make it that big. But, all these youngsters, they worked very hard. They are silently working. They're very professionally working people. And this is the first time in the history of IMANE, for the last, IMANE entering the 40th year now, that so many people have registered, And before this, there used to be 120 to 150 people. And this year, more than 250 people. And still, people calling today. I mean, from morning till evening, we had people calling and saying that, can we come? Has there been cancellation? And this and that. So I think it was a phenomenal year for IMANE. And these youngsters have done a great job. I think Sameer has done such a job. I'm very proud of him.
That is fantastic. So you are giving 100% credit to the younger generation who has come in and made a difference to make this a success event. Is that right?
I think that I'm giving them a lot of credit. Of course, the senior people were involved this year, and they were very, very a type of people who actually wanted to give to some IMANE and keep the legacy on. So it's been great, both young and old, and I hope that it continues.
On that note, as you said, I hope it continues. What are your aspirations and hopes from the incoming president?
He seems to be a very accomplished person, and hopefully he will do very well, I think, because all these youngsters who been there this year, for example, Sameer Kapasi and Paul Matthew and Sucheta Doshi, these people will help him. And I already told him that if he needs anything from us, feel free to call. We don't want to be anymore on any executive committee position, but we will definitely help. Yeah.
Fantastic. We wish you all the best for this event as well as for the upcoming year. Thank you.
Hi, it's so exciting to be here tonight. Thank you for having us here. It is a very great, colorful gathering so far. Everyone's getting in the mood to start the gala official program. So thank you.
I am from Foundations TV and we're covering the event tonight. So how are you associated with IMANE?
I have a lot of friends in this organization. I am a member of National API, and I have been the regional director of National API. I am just the immediate past president of Medical Society of Virginia, and I am the past chair of the AMA IMG Governing Council. I am planning to run for office in API so that I can bring my experience and my perspective to our Indian associations and try and make a little difference.
Fantastic. So what brings you to IMANE Gala tonight?
Well, as I mentioned, there are a lot of friends I have in IMANE, and as a part of campaigning for my position for treasurer, I'm trying to let people know what my credentials are.
Fantastic, and I think you're doing a great job networking here with people, so we wish you all the best.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here covering the IMANE annual gala tonight, and we have some guests here with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Dr. Sudhakar Jonalagada. I'm a National Office Secretary, and I'm so excited to come today evening function of IMANE. Last year I came, and they always do an excellent job. And last year I came here actually requesting for my secretary elections, and they gave me a lot of help and they made me win last election. And it's a great team effort, and I know Dr Sameer Kapasi and their family, and wonderful people, and Dr Trivedi and Dr IMANE Dasari. They're all very, very legendary leaders of local as well as national API. And glad to be with them today, and we have a good evening. Thank you.
We are proud to be life member of IMANE, and we are looking forward to serve again as a board of trustee myself for 5 more years, as well as new president in the team of executive committee. We are always proud that you are doing the great service also for the community. Thank you.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We have Mr. Anand here with us, who is attending the annual IMANE Gala. So, welcome to Foundations TV and welcome to IMANE. Tell us about your association with the organization.
Hi, I am IMANE's life member, and I was part of executive committee last year also. And I come here every year, and it's a good way to interact and network with the friends and be part of the community, which makes a difference in physicians of Indian origin and particularly New England region. So we look into the problems and issues concerned with physicians and physician community in terms of healthcare, recent changes in the healthcare, employment, jobs, and networking. So it's really good organization, good platform for all of us. And we connect with the national level of organizations, API also. So we participate in those, and we make a positive difference in the cause for each physicians and all as a community.
Are you having a good time tonight?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here at the annual IMANE Gala for 2017, and we have with us Sucheta. Sucheta, welcome to the gala and to Foundations TV.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us about your association with IMANE. I know you've had a very close association, so definitely share with us.
Yes, so I actually have very fond memories of when I first joined IMANE. It was back in 2003, and I was first starting off my residency, and Dr Kapasi, who I've known since I was a little girl, encouraged me to join IMANE and become the young physician representative. So that was actually my introduction to the organization as the first young physician representative under Dr Onali Kapasi and Dr Sameer Kapasi. The two of them have been instrumental in helping me learn about the organization, grow into myself as a leader, and I hold the two of them responsible for me eventually becoming one of the youngest presidents of IMANE in 2012.
Wow, that's amazing. So that was 2012 and now it's 2017. Have you seen the organization grow since then?
Definitely. It just makes me incredibly proud to see the organization growing by leaps and bounds every year. And when I was president in 2012, we had a handful of young physicians. But by now you can see that there's such a large group of younger physicians here, and it's a testament to how much mentorship we have received from the organization and how open it is for more and more young physicians to join. So
that's fantastic. Are you having a good time tonight?
I am, definitely. I think Sameer Kapasi has been one of the really innovative younger physicians. When I was president, he actually created our website that exists today and has grown by leaps and bounds. And I think for him to get Dr. Vivek Murthy to come and speak is a monumental achievement.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I want to thank the president of IMANE, Dr. Sameer Kapasi, for inviting us. And I'm Dr. Anupama Gadimukula. I'm treasurer of AAPI, the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin. And we represent about more than 100,000 physicians in this country, and very proud of this organization, which has been doing a lot in this country and also encouraging the international medical graduates from India. And we are here at the IMANE event today, and they are having their annual event, and I wish them very good luck for a successful event today. Thank you so much.
We've gathered here to honor this organization and support all that we do, all 250 of you. Admittedly, when I was in Vikas Mirchia's position last fall, last November, I thought, what have I gotten myself into? Dr. Mathur, all of you stood up. Why did all of you stand up? You stood up because of this love for IMANE. You all helped build up IMANE, and you guys love it like you love your children. You wanted IMANE to survive, and so you stood up until this wonderful organization could stand again. Then, we had some wonderful people join us, like Arshia said, Paul Matthew, Priya Janradana, Vikas Mirchia, Gleason Ravello, Sangeeta Murali. The names go on. I couldn't list them for half an hour. They came along because of their love of service. They came along because they wanted to see IMANE stand. This year has been a landmark year. It's because of all of these folks I've mentioned and countless more who have stepped forward and said, I love IMANE, I love my community, and I would love to do more. Everyone came together to support us for a wonderful CME conference in Nasir Khan's honor earlier this year. And we took an alternate route this year. Rather than our regular pain and risk management, we took a gamble. We said, why don't we try some specialty content? And then we continued the summer after this great successful event with summer events where we had a box at Fenway Park for a Red Sox game. We had an event at Cradles to Crayons where we helped out more than 80 families have access to nice clean clothes. We also joined India in New England for their Mega Health Expo to help what we do best and hold a health fair. At India Day, we were there with the India Association of Greater Boston holding the health fair. We were there with United India Association in a health fair co-sponsored. And finally, we sponsored our own health fair very recently on November 4th at the Guru Nanak Gurudwara in Everett, where we served over 150 people. This is IMANE.
I'd love to get an understanding of what the needs of the community are outside, how we can partake. Certainly there are health fairs where we can offer our services, but if there's other things which we can do, it would be fantastic for us to be apprised of them and then get involved with them and bring the resources which we're able to the needs which are out there in the community. This is a phenomenal event. Hopefully we can have many more events like this, and perhaps not once a year, but maybe every quarter, on a smaller scale every month. You know, I was having some great ideas thrown at me by other people in terms of having social events, we're far more pluralistic than that. We're from different parts of, even if you look at India, you know, we're from different parts of India. In America, now the next generations are getting more and more integrated. So we're not just Indians, we're Indian, American, European. All of us are kind of coming together, and we still share a common heritage, a common roots, that some of us are of Indian origin. So India has phenomenal values, traits that you can share with us.
That's outside of the Boston area. I just imagined Vikas, myself, and Sameer in a production video to advertise our event in New Hampshire in lungis in the back of a lorry heading up north. Anyway, we have done that video before, but now we can actually, there has to be some cute like fluorescent writing just like in India. But so at this time, we are very appreciative of our national umbrella organization.
In public health. And when I had crazy ideas for what I wanted to do to address HIV in India, and they fortunately did not dismiss me as a crazy person, but were kind enough to support me in some of my endeavors. So we'll always be grateful to both of you. Thank you for that. You know, I will say perhaps the most immediate thing I can say about my journey as Surgeon General, it was absolutely unexpected. You know, I was not somebody who grew up thinking that I would ever serve in a role like that. I never aspired to be Surgeon General. But I had a spirit of service that was instilled in me through my parents, through my mother and my father. And because when I was younger, they didn't tell me to go into public service. They didn't urge me to do community service, but they led by example. And we had to make tough decisions about what we focused on. One thing that many people don't know about the role of Surgeon General is that the Surgeon General also oversees one of the 7 uniformed services in the U.S. government. We've heard of the Army, we've heard of the Navy, we've heard of the Air Force, we've heard of the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard, but many people haven't heard of the United States Public Health Service Commission Corps. And the Commission Corps consists of 6,700 officers who are doctors, like many of you, who are nurses, public health engineers, physical therapists, and others who have dedicated their lives to improving health in America and around the world. They are the officers that we deployed during the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, where they set up the Monrovia Medical Unit to care for people who had Ebola. We deployed hundreds of officers during the Zika outbreak. We sent officers to respond to hurricanes and tornadoes. So these officers play an essential role in keeping our country safe. And it was one of the greatest privileges of my life to be able to oversee that service and work with so many extraordinary men and women. I'm happy to share more about that experience as we go through the questions, but one last thing I'll say about it is this. I went into government having not worked in government before. But I came away just really inspired by so many of the people I met inside of government. The people that I met were incredibly thoughtful, intelligent, dedicated. They didn't work from 9 to 5, clock out, and then go, chill out and watch Netflix. These were people who worked 80, 90, 100 hours a week. They worked on weekends. They worked all the time because they felt a sense of mission, but they also felt a sense of urgency. And they knew that the problems that people all over the country were facing were urgent, and they wanted to do whatever they could to address them. They were also operating under a lot of constraints. I came to government having built nonprofit organizations, having built a technology company, and having enjoyed the freedom that you have when you build enterprises in the private sector. The freedom to make decisions and pivot quickly when those decisions don't go well. Government's a little harder in that way. There's bureaucracy, there's also the spotlight that's shined on you by the press that makes people in government, in all 3 branches of government, cautious when they're making moves. And operating under those circumstances isn't always easy, but we are lucky as a country that we do have so many thoughtful, dedicated people who could have made a lot more money in the private sector, but decided that, for some period of time we want to serve in government, whether it's in a uniform, whether it's in an administrative capacity, but we want to serve. And I was very grateful to have met many of them along the journey.
Thank you. So we were just catching up over the last couple of minutes, just in the last 2 years. It's really helpful to get that information. So over the last couple of years, when you were serving as Surgeon General, what did you think were the biggest public health challenges facing America today? We've heard a lot about this from the news lately as well, but what did you think, just in your specific role as well?
This is one of the hardest parts of my job, was to figure out, in the limited time that we have, which issues do we focus on, the many worthy public health issues out there. People would write to me with really poignant and heart-wrenching stories about their family members who are struggling with particular medical disorders. Communities would raise concerns about the lack of safety in their neighborhoods, and they worried that their children would be the victims of violence through no fault of their own. There were so many issues that people raised that were of chronic concern to them. And then there were the issues that would come up unexpectedly. Ebola was not something that anyone expected to be as big an issue as it became. Zika, similarly, was not an issue that we expected to be as impactful as it was. But these issues surfaced, and we had to respond and address them. In my case, I ended up focusing on a few, and actually I touched on many issues when I was in office, but there were a couple that I delved into quite deeply, including issuing reports on them and building campaigns around them. And those included the topic of substance use and addiction, which is a major issue in our country. It's more of a major issue than most people realize, because there's a unfortunate stigma around addiction that prevents a lot of people from coming forward and admitting that they have a problem. There are also many families that don't talk about the fact that their husbands or wives or sons or daughters may be struggling with a substance use disorder. And so we have a false sense of how common or uncommon this illness actually is. But it turns out when you delve into the data, that there are about 21 million people in the United States who have a substance use disorder. And to put that in context, that's more than 1.5 times the number of people with all cancers combined. That's a large number of people. But you hear people much more readily talk about their struggles with cancer than you do their struggles with addiction. And so this has been one of the big challenges we've had in our country, is that we have a large number of people who have a substance use disorder, but only 1 in 10 of them are actually getting treatment. That's a major treatment gap. And it's hard to really put a finger on just how high the costs are of the addiction epidemic to our nation. We know just in terms of straight dollars that $442 billion, that's the number of dollars that addiction costs us every year as a country. And that's costs in terms of healthcare expenses, criminal justice costs, and lost productivity. But you can't measure the costs on families, the emotional toll that addiction takes on communities, the fact that in some communities, like in Ohio and other parts of the country, there are entire towns that have been decimated by the opiate epidemic, where people have moved out, jobs have been lost, real estate values have fallen, and communities are now struggling. Those costs aren't fully rolled into the number I just shared with you. So this is one of the reasons that I decided to make addiction one of my focus areas when I was Surgeon General. I issued the first Surgeon General's report on alcohol, drugs, and health to mobilize our country to action when it comes to addressing the addiction crisis. But I also focus on a few other topics as well, including e-cigarette use among youth. Many of you may be familiar with e-cigarettes. You may have patients who use e-cigarettes. You may have friends who have tried e-cigarettes. There's a lot that's not known currently about whether or not e-cigarettes are truly effective for smoking cessation, which is one of the reasons that people tend to use them. But while that data is being gathered, and while we're looking for clear evidence there is plenty of data to suggest that kids should not be using e-cigarettes, which often contain nicotine being a highly addictive substance, and one that children, again, should not be exposed to. So during my time, I issued the first report on e-cigarettes in youth. And I did that in part because I was in Washington State as part of a listening tour that I did when I began my tenure in office. And I had a teacher attend that listening session. And I remember she raised her hand and she said, we don't allow our kids to chew gum in class. I said, that sounds familiar. We weren't allowed to chew gum in class either. She said they can't drink alcohol because it's illegal. They certainly can't smoke cigarettes. But kids are actually using e-cigarettes in my class. They're vaping in my classroom. And the school has no policy on it. And I asked my school why we don't have a policy. And they said because the county doesn't have a policy, so nobody really knows what to do. So we're just waiting for someone to tell us what to do. And that was really disturbing to me. But I knew that she wasn't alone as well, that there were other communities that were struggling with a lack of information. They were struggling with confusion around e-cigarettes, and that was one of the reasons I issued that report. And finally, and this is something I know we'll get into later, I ended up during the latter half of my term focusing increasingly on the topic of emotional health and well-being. I came to this not because it was pre-planned. I actually didn't enter office thinking that this would be a focus area of mine. But I realized it had to be because of conversations I had with people all over the country, conversations which helped me understand that there is a deep emotional hole that many people are experiencing. There's a great deal of stress that people of all age groups and demographics are experiencing in our country. And it's for a variety of reasons. In some cases, it's because of violence, which far too many people are experiencing in their communities. In other cases, poverty is driving chronic stress. In some cases, discrimination. In some cases, the experience of chronic illness. Whatever it may be, chronic stress has become more and more of a problem. I remember visiting the University of Texas, where I spoke to a group of 500 undergraduates. And I asked them a very simple question. I said, how many of you in the last month have experienced an unbearable amount of stress? And about 95% of the hands went up. But then I asked them a follow-up question. I said, how many of you felt that you had healthy ways of dealing with that stress? And less than 5% of the hands went up. That was actually not an unusual response. I heard that same response when I went to universities all across the country. I was just speaking to Harvard College students actually earlier this week and had the same response. I was at Yale at the beginning of the week speaking to people there. Again, a similar ratio in terms of that response. So what that helped me understand from very early on in my tenure is that we have a much bigger problem with chronic stress than we recognize. And while we have traditionally thought about stress as something that we should just suck it up and deal with, right? That's our strategy in medicine. Just figure it out on your own. You develop your own strategy, but check that at the door and don't bring it to work. But the problem is that chronic stress is now impacting our work. It's impacting how our kids do in schools. It's impacting our health as a country. So we have an important impetus, I believe, to figure out strategies that we can implement in schools and in workplaces to address chronic stress. Because if we don't, then I worry that many of the issues that we're reading about in the paper, whether it's gun violence, whether it's the opioid epidemic, or other issues, that these will continue to grow and to be exacerbated if we don't recognize the contribution that chronic stress has to issues like addiction.
Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here at the 2017 IMANE Gala, and we have with us Dr. Vikas, who is the incoming president of the organization. So welcome today to Foundations TV, and of course, welcome to the beginning of a new journey for you.
Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to be very exciting and wonderful. We have a great constituency, and I think there's a great deal that Sameer has already started, created some momentum, and hopefully we can continue with that momentum and take it further.
So the theme that I'm hearing today is there's multiple generations involved with IMANE rather. There's of course the wisdom of the older generation and then the enthusiasm of the younger generation. So what do you hope to bring along with you as you go forward?
That's really interesting because they were all coining me as the younger generation. I think I'm actually one in between the generations, so there's the older generation and a younger generation, and I'm sort of in between. But realistically, it's not which generation you're in. I think it's just collectively coming together to serve the purposes of the community and society, and act as a forum for us to get together and have fun. All too often we're bogged down with work and it just becomes work, and it becomes repetitive, and it becomes exhaustive. And we had this theme with Dr. Murthy, which spoke about physician burnout and things which we can do. And one of the most important things which I think he reflected upon was in terms of being contemplative, in terms of maybe having some quiet time to ourselves, in terms of being able to communicate with other people. So I think if we bring all of that together through, as I had mentioned earlier, yoga, meditation, I think these are phenomenal things which we can do collectively as a group. And I think this will help bring people together. This will help serve the community, and it will also lead to better sanity and mental health for physicians and others.
That's a great balance. I know you talked about the fun element inside as well. That's something that is probably going to be a little new feature to IMANE. Of course, there's camps that are hosted every single year, and there's this gala. And you were talking of doing multiple events, not just those, right?
Absolutely. Yep. You know, I think, why can't we have many more events like this? It doesn't need to be that we just have a speaker come in, but we have a very rich, diverse cultural background, and we can bring artists and performers and speakers and even politicians and other individuals and bring them together to share their ideas. You know, this is a forum for people to learn, to exchange ideas, information, growth, and we should utilize it in that capacity.
Now you have some really good ideas. Do you find yourself facing any challenges as you go forward in 2018?
I think there are always challenges that need to be contended with, but when you're confronted with a challenge, the fundamental action that you need to rise to is, how do you overcome that challenge? Don't let that challenge set you back and prevent you from advancing forward, but it's to find a way to move forward. You know, one of the things which I always tell my children is that when you have a difficult task at hand, don't look at the whole task as one single task, because then it does sort of become insurmountable. Break it up into smaller pieces and achieve those smaller pieces, and as you achieve the smaller pieces, you keep moving forward, and before you know it, you'll actually attain the goal.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Welcome to Foundations TV, everybody. We are here today at the 2017 IMANE Gala, and we have with us Mr. Ramesh, who has a very strong affiliation with IMANE. So welcome to Foundations TV, and please do share with us what your association is with IMANE.
Well, you know, I've been coming to IMANE meetings and API meeting for a very long time. And the physician community has been very welcoming to me, because I got active in politics, American politics, in 1980. And then later on, 86 nationally. And whenever IMANE needed some speakers or their issues were there, I would set up the meeting, or I would get different senators, congressmen. Like, for example, Ted Kennedy spoke to IMANE over here one year. John Kerry has spoken. So a lot of politicians, I wanted to make sure that we introduce the best of our community, and the Indian physicians are the best. And they've been very supportive in terms of politics, in terms of fundraising, in helping me out, you know, so I have very soft corner for, and I hope they have too, for me, because even though I've touched them more than one way, their pocketbook, they're still, I'm surprised they still invite me. But they're excited about our next generation running for office too, on the political side. You know, Vivek is one of the example. He has a good future in politics. You know, I could sense it. And then we have different folks around the country that have been elected in the Congress, and then we have a first Senator, Kamala Harris, and she has a great future. She has a good chance of being the first woman president and the first Indian American president.
That's fantastic. So you've been instrumental in bringing the IMANE physicians of Indian origin's voice to where it needs to be heard a little bit, you know, in the politics. Now, how do you feel about Vivek coming to this event today?
It's great. I think he's. That's why I can see he has a good future, because he would make a good senator. His filibustering was great today. He was going on and on and on. That's a good politician in my books. But yeah, he has a good shot opening You never know, Elizabeth Warren might be running, and that seat might open up in the Senate. But my recommendation is, I think his senatorial material, run straight for senator instead of running for Congress, because of his background. His resume is great, and then he's been a Surgeon General nationally. If you look at Elizabeth Warren, she was a professor, right? And she became the senator. So I think Vivek has better resume, and he has a great shot to be a senator. And that's what we want. And I think the Imam and the Indian, the RP and the physicians are the key people that are very supportive in writing checks, because to run for office is expensive in this country. And so this community has always been generous to me, always been generous in terms of charities, has been also generous in terms of the next generation running for office in politics. Yeah.
That's great. So I think this has been one of the most... But it's interesting to hear such honest, perspective about how people outside of being physicians can also connect with a community such as Iman. So it's great to hear that perspective. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.